thing, like container, Liquid will get up to go investigate. He'll go, huh? And he'll get up to go investigate, and you could shoot him in the head with a tranquilizer gun, and it knocks him out, and you skip the whole boss battle, which I thought was really cool. It reminded me of skipping the boss battle in the end, like something like that.
Yeah.
But
That's
yeah.
cool. Did you get that from the strategy guy?
No, actually, well, kinda. I had heard about it. No, I had heard about it, and I tried doing it, and then I got the chair cutscene, and then I reset my checkpoint, and I looked at the guide to see, like, well, what can I do? And they said, oh, if you throw an ammo thing. I'm like, oh, okay. So, like, it was like a mixture of two, but I had heard online you could climb up and on the side and shit, and that's because people were like, where's that chair scene? And they're like, oh, if you do it on the side, you can.
Yeah, I didn't get the chair scene. I just basically ran up there and started hitting him.
Yeah,
pissing me off.
I did that the first time too.
I didn't really think of it stealth way. I just ran up to it because I was like, I'm gonna fucking punch him, which I did. I punched him repeatedly, but I didn't get that chest.
And no sacre bleu or cordon bleu. I was so offended.
Sacre bleu, that comes on later. That's what he learns from Ocelot and his terrible French laissez-faire terribles. It's like, yes, right. That's where he gets it from later. Sacre bleu. We're going to be like, you're running out of time.
Hurry! It's going to blow. That's Liquid in his teen years when he actually gets some action. He's just like getting like, you know, some oral sex. He looks down. Hurry! It's going to blow. That's all I think of when I'm playing. Dude, I played Metal Gear Solid 1 so many times. You just make up stuff now when you play it.
It's just great.
But dude, no, really quickly, I was gonna say, tell me, like, basically, you know, what are your thoughts on Eli, like in general?
Eli's an interesting character, especially with like how they throw him into the game and just. You know, subtly mention things. I love the fact that he doesn't talk in the first part of, like, well, the chapter 1, basically, almost. He doesn't say much, like how he looks at Big Boss and how he says things. It's really, really strange. It kind of adds the mystique as well of what Liquid Snake is, almost this kind of character with, like, just burning with revenge. I think he embodies Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain more than any other character in the entire the entire game for revenge and what he's doing. So he's greatly portrayed. I think Kojima does a great job bringing Liquid into the story. I think, like, what was the other thing now? There's something on the tip of my tongue.
Okay, I'm sorry. Continue.
Yeah, continue. No, I was saying, like, with Liquid, like, there's a great thing with, like, the fact that he kind of embodies revenge more than any other character in the series. It's just crazy how he does that. Like Kojima, I think he gives, like, Liquid one of the biggest purposes in how he's quiet throughout most of the game until later on. There's a great scene, though, he has with when he gets on Outer Haven, when he gets in Mother Base, and Big Boss is like, welcome to Outer Haven, and, like, pats him on the back, and he pulls the knife out, and, like, Big Boss breaks it, like, dislocates his, like, arm. He's like, you know, we don't do that to our own soldiers here. And he kind of, like, adds such a great kind of, like, idea behind it.
Oh, he sets him in his place, because, like, he kind of, like, gives him, like, that pat, like, you know, little kid pat, like, you know, there you go, little buddy. Yeah, and then that pisses him off, because Liquid is just, he's always been mad, man, apparently, according to this game, and that's where, yeah, he's like, well, fuck you, I'm gonna stab you with your own knife, you asshole. And, yeah, I agree, man, it comes off so cool, and yeah, his embodiment of hatred and stuff. It's it's almost like he's like the other flip side coin of Kaz. You know, if Kaz is like, I want revenge, I'm pissed, but he has a directive, Liquid is almost, or Eli or whatever, is almost like the like, you know, uncompressed version of that. He just like, you know, he's just pointing his guns everywhere. As someone who to kind of give my piece on Eli, as someone who is a huge fan of Liquid Snake, he's my favorite villain in the Metal Gear universe. It was so cool, you know, seeing him as a kid. Even as a kid, I felt he was so interesting, knowing where he came from, and, you know, like, you know, you could see why he talks so much shit about Big Boss in Metal Gear Solid 1.
Well,
after the events,
I think his story is incomplete. Again, going back to the cut ending, which we'll talk about later on.
Yes, that upsets me.
I think there's also great in that cut ending. There's a great sequence what fills. I'll come back to it later, but I'll say it's a great way of explaining why he's so hateful of Big Boss even more. And kind of like there's a great moment with it wherever it is, but I'll come back to it anyway. But I love Eli's inclusion in it.
Yeah.
You didn't even really have to tease the fact that Liquid. Everyone knew Liquid Snake. He just embodied what Liquid Snake is. Like he just played a good part of the story. For me, like one of the things I want to talk to you about is the vocal parasite thing. What did you take on the entire like kind of that being in the center of the plot?
I mean, the parasite thing was like some people online were saying how it's almost like the nanomachines of Phantom Pain
2.0.
Yeah, or rather like 0.5 because it's the prequel or whatever. It's you know, but I mean, Kojima literally in the guide that I have, the collector's thing, in one of his commentaries, he literally said that he knew he couldn't do nanomachines in Phantom Pain because Phantom Pain takes place in '84, and nanomachines is obviously something that's like 2005 and beyond in the MGS universe, and so he invented the parasites instead. I mean, I think it's really cool how they linked it to the end, like, and they linked it to the Cobras and all that. Like they kind of like, you know, connected the whole series to it, but at the same time, I don't know, it's like a cop-out in a way, because it's just like, alright, you know, the fucking parasites again, and, alright, you know, like one of those type of things, where, it just comes off as like classic Kojima, you know, type stuff. I did like Code Talker, though. I have to mention, because he's very much linked to the Parasite story. I loved Code Talker a lot. I thought the actor that played him is actually a young man, and I thought that was very interesting. They got he's like in his 30s or something. They got a young man to play an older man.
Both David Cage and Kojima love the Nahave.
I know, dude. They just want to, you know, they got to get that Native American aspect of it.
Yeah. I actually love the vocal parasite of the game. That was the most intriguing thing for me, because I expected it to be kind of like just a springboard for the birth of the Patriot system. Because the fact that, you know, if you can't control voice, you can control information and what everything else is doing. Like, you know, I thought like that was Cypher's kind of like what it was in quote grand experiment during the vocal parasite. And then that would be like, because that fails, there's an evolution to using the system, putting that in place and everything else, and then the birth of nanomachines. Like, you know, if you can't control someone's voice, you can kind of like control what they do as a person. But obviously it didn't kind of come to fruition that what I believe would be happen. But I think like just the idea of like how it fits with the kind of tone of voice and like loss of identity. Again, like a great portion of the dialogue that's amazingly written by Kojima goes to the fucking cassette tapes. It's like when Code Talker's talking, he's like, you know, he does that great monologue from the trailers that, you know, when leaders, you know, when a new leader emerges, people unite under the will of like this one leader. What does he do to bring people together? Language. Like, you know, the great dialogue of this fucking game with cassette tapes, it kind of like makes me feel really irritated. So I'm always kind of like, fuck me, this is Kojima at his best writing. Like, he delivers such kind of great lines and kind of like, you know, food for, you know, words to like kind of chew on. You know, food for thought, like just everything like about it is so great.
Yeah.
But then, but I love the vocal parasite line. I like how, you know, Skullface as a character kind of like makes his story even better. Like, you know, he says like, you know, he didn't know his own homeland. You know, it's taken from him. He was taught to speak a foreign tongue. Foreign tongue. He kind of grew to resent. You know, he wants to extinguish it. You know, he wants to kind of. There was kind of a great layer to it. It's so. Yeah, as I said, like, you know, as you said, Kojima-esque, that you do something like that in the game.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, that's an interesting perspective from it. I think, I mean, I'll put it this way: it was a bit of a cop-out to use a nanomachine-esque, like plot device or a Deus Ex Machina or whatever. But I have to say, they did give a pretty cool backstory to it. And I like the whole, like, how you had to... Remember the Kakongo thing? They had to get all those guys that had Kakongo voices, or, like they could speak Kakongo, the language. You had to, like, isolate them and put them in quarantine. That was really cool. I thought that whole sequence and just... You know, the Parasite is an interesting angle. And it's a shame that it didn't get more of a spotlight on it than I felt like it should have. But yeah, no, that's a good point, dude. It's a lot more innovative, I think, than just saying like, how does Vamp do this? Nanomachines. Well, Raiden, he's alive again, nanomachine. You know what I mean? Like, it comes off as a little bit more genuine and acceptable than just, you know, the nanomachine thing. So yeah, that's a good point. But okay, so then kind of moving on the story, you get to like the final part of the game, which is, you know, the end of chapter 1, your final confrontation with Skullface, that you infiltrate the XOF base in OKB-0, and you start, you know, they had that awkward scene, remember, where he's like, "Come, Snake, I'm gonna tell you my plans," and you're like rolling your eyes, and then they have that really awkward scene where it's just Snake and Skullface sitting in the back of that car, and he's giving like that giant monologue, and then I guess they ran out of time, so they just start playing Sins of the Father, and you're like,
you have to have a ladder sequence in every fucking game. Like they did in MGS3. I thought that was really kind of creepy though as well at the same time. Like, I'll defend that cutscene because I thought it was really well done.
Really?
When he gets to the top of it. Yeah, because I feel like it does that great moment where he gets out the helicopter and moves the people's guns away.
That was cool. Like, remember we saw that in all the trailers and we didn't know where it was from?
That's why I was like, oh shit, I was like, that's so fucking cool. I will defend it because I think like one of the great things people almost expect like a boss battle from it. But the entire point was a boss battle, like kind of big boss, like Skullface is just literally like, come with me and I'll show you what my plan is. And you just aimlessly follow it. Like, you just follow him. It's like, yeah, okay, I'll go with you. And then you just, like, sit in the car, and he's basically feeding you stuff. Like, he's like, this is my motive. This is my reason. This is why I'm not your enemy.
It's interesting, by the way, he mentions that he was secretly, like, had Snake's back in Snake.
Yeah. I think people were kind of saying that there should be more flesh, like, you know, more light shown on that kind of plot and who he was, but I don't think that's relevant. I think, like, you know, in the entire point, XOF is, you know, in the entire point, it's Black Ops. Like, it's not meant to be something that's shun on, because basically it's just saying that that was Zero's failsafe in case something happened with Fox. You could use XOF kind of like, you know, to clean up things.
Right.
And it's so brilliant done. Like, you know, it's a counter organization. It's got its name backwards from Fox, and just like the fact of what it's meant to be doing and how you know, Skullface grows from the shadows and becomes almost bigger than Zero and almost takes him out. Says a lot about the kind of like character. But I didn't like that kind of cutscene. It was awkward, but it's also great. Just love how Sid the father plays, and you're just watching him, and he doesn't move. He's just in the car.
You know, I played.
To be honest,
I played 80s music instead, so it made it funny.
Really?
It was like, true.
Yeah, the kid.
Do 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 do. Do you know why I did this, Snake? True. I was like, this is really funny.
I've seen a lot of people. Have you seen the Hey, it's John Cena videos?
Oh yeah. Where that?
Yeah, someone said they wanted. Someone said they wanted that for their helicopter during the music for John Cena, which I was like, I was like, if that was the case, like MVS would be Game of the Year contender. No, that would be like, you know, it'd be like Game of the Year winner, no doubt at this point. If I could play John Cena's music on a helicopter, just fly around the car, it's like do 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 do. I'm like, oh, what the fuck?
That would have been great. You could probably do that on the PC version. I've heard that you could mod and actually add custom tracks. So
that's probably one of the most amazing parts about being a PC user, is that being able to do that. I was just like, John Cena, do 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 do. The helicopter goes around the corner.
But so anyway, in that whole mission, we get the meme of the game, which is you find out. So Psycho Mantis, this is an interesting aspect. Psycho Mantis, since he's young, he's drawn to like whoever has so much like hatred in them. So, and if you notice, sometimes he has a horn on his head when he's attracted to Snake. Sometimes his mask is in the shape of a skull when he's attracted to Skullface. He has fire on his arms when he's attracted to the Man of Fire, and he gets that red ribbon around him, almost like he's a member of Liquid's team when Eli, you know, like attracts him. So at the end of the game, Eli, who's stuck aboard the helicopter, is like still pissed at Big Boss, and you know that's used to activate Sahelanthropus to fight, you know, Snake. And then you have that awesome scene, such a lust for revenge, whoo, which is the new meme from the Phantom Pain. It's the successor to "Played Us Like a Goddamn Fiddle." So there's debates among what is better. I don't know. I find them both funny for their own things.
Yeah.
But
who tops it with that Soldier Boy remix? That's so way.
Yes, you guys need to look that up. It's so funny. And then what's the other thing? Like, all right, Zero, I'm burning up. It's so weird. Like Skullface starts acting really fucking odd at the end. But
he's an 80s Bond villain.
Yeah, like his Bond villain starts showing big time near the end. And so you end up fighting Sahelanthropus. It's an amazing boss battle. Like, oh, it's so like we talked about it as one of the last boss battles in the MGS series. It's not as emotionally epic as Snake versus Liquid Ocelot, but it is very epic in terms of scale. It's such a grand battle, and you have the helicopter helping you. You have to run to the supply drops, and then when that slowdown happens, and what's his face, Psycho Mantis appears, and you have to shoot him to stun Sahelanthropus. Oh, it's so epic, man! It's such an epic, sequence.
How long did it take you to pronounce Sahelanthropus?
Yeah, remember we were trying to talk about that? When I heard Skullface say it, that's when I knew how to say it. I didn't know reading it.
It took me like 10 times. I had to keep waiting for people to say it. It's like Sahelanthropus. I was like, yeah.
Because you look at it, and it just looks like such an intimidating word, like Sahelanthropus, Like...
Yeah. Mount St. Helen, we'll call it that.
Yeah, I mean, it's as big as it, fuck.
I think like I think it's one of the best boss battles like in the game, but obviously that kind of doesn't speak much. But kind of like just the sheer scale of it, fighting Sahelanthropus at that point, how it has like so many abilities, how it can move fast, like fuck me, it has so many things. I remember getting out there and just ran out. Oh, my first thing was I called D-Horse out of the mission. I was like, get out of here. It's like I think I called it Quiet. I think I called him Quiet, I called him Quiet.
Because Quiet keeps shooting at it constantly, so it kind of lowers the health.
That's what I mean. Yeah, exactly. So I was like getting D-Horse out there straight away, and then I ran down to get the tank and the missiles. And then even like halfway into when it loses half its health, it uses that, was it the metal Achilles or whatever it's called?
Oh, right, yeah.
Where you use it to kind of rust all the metal around you. You can't use your vehicles, you have to jump out and start attacking it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a fucking epic mission though. Like really, really well set up. And even the kind of conclusion afterwards where you go find Skullface is kind of like MGS style of epic.
Where he's and this is interesting because we had to, so after you're done with Sahelanthropus, you go back to Skullface, and he's like dying. Like basically all this like shit rubble has fallen on him, and he's like, kill me! And you're like, oh shit, Scully, we're gonna get you, Scully. And then it's interesting because this thing happens where he picks up,
he said Scully, I was like, Scully and Sully, Nate!
Nate, come here, Nate! Damn it, kid! But you pick up Skullface's shotgun and you point it at him, and this is interesting. Shotgun. Yeah, this is interesting because we had two different things. I didn't do anything, and the way the cutscene plays is I don't do anything, and then Snake points it at his legs and starts shooting off all of the limbs from Skullface. And while they're doing that, this really cool sequence happens where it starts like cutting to like all of a sudden Snake looks like Ground Zero's Snake, and Kaz looks like, who's standing next to him, looks like Ground Zero's Kaz, and they start showing like the missing limbs and all that. And then like, what was that badass line? Like Snake throws the gun down and Kaz is like, kill yourself. Like just do it yourself. Yeah. And then Huey comes and kills him. I did it! Revenge! And you're like, go to hell, Huey. Fuck you, man. But dude, you had a different thing, right?
Yeah, mine was different. I left him there. Like I wasn't going to shoot him, and then basically Kaz came up to me, like clinged on Snake's arm, and then he used the gun himself and shot off the limbs.
Wow.
And then it does the same thing where it switches the camera around. It shows Kaz. Right. Like when he shoots the arm off, like it shows Kaz and without his arm, from Afghanistan.
Right.
And then it shows like when he shoots off his leg, it shows Kaz without his leg. And it shows also Big Boss kind of like, Ground Zero stuff. And it was really weird that was a different take of two cutscenes we got, because I was like, shit, because when I told you, I was like, oh, it's so cool after. You're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, this happens. I was like, yeah, it's so cool to see it. But I thought that was so freaking great. Like, again, another exemplary kind of like example of Kojima's elevation of cutscenes, kind of like direction and editing is so well done.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I just don't think that when Skullface's story comes to an end there, I felt really disappointed.
Yeah.
He's not meant to be bigger than that in the universe, but kind of like when I listened to the tapes at the end of the game and kind of realised how he pretty much hijacked the Cypher system and he became bigger than Cypher almost. Yeah. It kind of makes me think that what? Kind of like, and even the third boy, what is he called, the third boy?
The third child? You mean Psycho?
Yeah. Like, his character is just like, sometimes I feel it's so weird for him to be there.
It's almost fan service, in a way.
Yeah, it's just kind of like, he's there and then there's no explanation of who he is. And like,
It's
yeah,
odd.
yeah.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
But in completing this mission, it ends chapter 1 of the game, which is Revenge, and basically chapter 2 Race opens up, and chapter 2 is really weird because it's just very unfinished, like like big time. Like a lot of the stuff happens in the side ops.
Chapter 2 is probably 7 missions ish.
Yeah, if you don't count the like total stealth or subsistence or extreme or all those other variations of shit you played in chapter 1. Yeah, it's like only a handful of missions. It's very short. I
will criticize it heavily for that because I did that with Watch Dogs, where it's like it's really inconsistent with like mission structure.
Yeah.
Like MGS feels really weird because it's 30 fresh missions in 1, and then 2 is just like literally loads of rehashes of other missions, and then very little kind of like actual missions.
Yeah,
and it kind of says a lot.
It just screams of what was happening behind the scenes with Konami and Kojima Productions and stuff. Like there's a story there that we're gonna read about years from now to see what the hell happened.
Yeah.
But basically, there's not much that happens, or there is a lot and not a lot at the same time. Basically, a big plot hole is open because Eli steals Sahelanthropus and has the English strain that he gets from Psycho Mantis, and the game never talks about it ever. No, like that's it. So you have to see the unfinished Phantom episode. Which this
is the weird thing for me was the fact that like I was explaining this to one of my friends as well. Like he was like, "Oh, you don't have to explain it from." I was like, he just took Sahelanthropus from Big Boss. Like, what? Big Boss has already gone for the fact that fucking Sahelanthropus, like, you know, his base was destroyed in the previous game, and now his Metal Gear's been taken. And, like, you know, Kars is standing there. I'm like, Kars, the guy who's fucking after Cypher because he destroyed his base. This little fucking brat's stolen his bloody mech. And just like, they're just like, yeah, we'll just reconstruct that platform and see you later, plot hole. It was so stupid because, like, that is an unfinished plot scene. That entire thing was just unfinished to fuck. Yeah. I was like, you can't leave it on that. Just Liquid and a bunch of African soldiers and children just like disappearing Sahelanthropus. I mean, this mech that Zero wants as well.
Yeah,
it ties in with what happens with Zero. Like, he wants the mech back.
Yeah, I mean, I'll put it this way, man. It's such a big plot hole that they should have gotten that collector's edition video. Shouldn't have been a collector's edition exclusive. That should have been on every copy of the Phantom Pain as a video. Yeah. Just like when you unlock it after you complete mission 46 or 47 or whatever, like, it should just unlock because it's such a crucial thing. I mean, thank God for the internet and YouTube and people being able to spread the word because, you know, most people wouldn't know, like, what the hell happened, and they'd be like, what the fuck happened to Sahelanthropus and, like, and Eli and shit.
It's one of the biggest plot holes that opens up in the game. You're like, what the fuck is going on there?
Yeah.
When you watch it as well, you see the game's unfinished because there's a lot more to be explained, a lot more. Come on, start. But yeah, Liquid hijacking that. I love the cutscene where it leads with Ocelot torturing him. Not even Ocelot torturing him. Ocelot's sick and fucking sadistic in this game, especially with his injection to Huey.
Oh, when he leaves him, remember? In that part what a dick, man. That's where it becomes, remember torture? I look at it more as a sport.
Yeah.
You know, that's where it comes from there. He's learned... So that's the MGS1 line that you're like, oh, dude, there he is.
Yeah, torture. Yeah, because he doesn't really... He enjoys it, doesn't he? It's like he loved it. He loved every minute of it, Baker.
Yeah, he loved it. Like Baker's shit taking at the beginning. Oh, man. So then, you know, after that, and you're like, all right, whatever. Like, you have the mission Shining Lights Even in Death, which is probably the best mission of Chapter 2, which is...
it has the freakiest moment in it as well.
Oh, yeah. It's very scripted, like the hospital opening, but it's also really cool because basically Snake... The strain, you know, virus gets released in Mother Base, and it's all quarantined in this one area. And basically, Snake goes in there and kills all his men. I mean, that's the essence of it. And you, the player, have to kill them all. And every time they die, and your heroism goes down, and it says, like, you know, Donna Burke's voice, the like
staff member
lost, and you're like, oh no, like you feel bad. You feel like you're a terrible person, and the game forces you to. To me, it is as hurtful as when you have to kill the boss in Snake Eater. It's like to that level. Yeah. It's terrible. But it
just it's great. It's great when you hear like what was it now?
Huey?
We were in there in Huey. He's like, Snake, you're killing your man. It's like, shut
you're
up,
a bad. Is this what you do with family, Snake? And you're like, dude, shut up. I'm sure he feels bad about it. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
cheers,
you.
Fucking.
Like, you killed your wife. Why don't you shut the fuck up? But yeah, like it gets really, like that. And then, but and we haven't talked about him yet, but I think this is a perfect time to bring it up. It has, to me, in that cutscene that follows that mission, it has, to me, Kiefer Sutherland's best performance in the entire game as Snake, and that's when, the "I won't scatter your ashes into the heartless sea."
Actually, no. Let's go back before that, because there's a great cutscene when you go down to the bottom floor and all the soldiers are saluting. And it's playing the Peace Walker theme.
Oh god! And they're humming the song. Dude.
Yeah. Again, this is why Kojima should make a fucking horror game, because when I was playing, that was the freaky. I was playing this in pitch black. I was freaked out so badly by it. I just went in there, I shot every fucker in that room because I had a gun. I was like, "Fucking die!" I was like, "I can't even take this because it's so freaky."
It was.
I'm like, "Oh shit!"
It's super unsettling. Yeah.
Fun trivia, by the way, that tape you can use to lure wandering Mother Base soldiers back to you.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, so basically, if you play the Peace Walker theme, they come back to you.
Oh, that's awesome! I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's a fun trivia thing. There's a lot of fucking fun little nifty things about this game, but that is a freaky scene. But yeah, going back to this, Keeper Sutherland has like, this is one of the scenes where it feels like MGS, like you have pure from cutscenes to kind of like dialogue, kind of like shooting. Like, it's so great when they cremate the Diamond Dog soldiers.
Yeah.
Kind of like, when Big Boss stops them from scattering the ashes into scenes like, we'll make diamonds from them. It kind of explains why there's diamonds on the base as well.
Yeah. That whole scene, man, oh my god, like it really just it's probably the top 5, like one of the top 5 best scenes of the game. Everyone nails it. Like Kaz, like, Robert Atkin Downs owns it in that scene where he's like, "We will carry them into battle." Like that whole thing, just so much emotion, so much expression. And then that thing, just that line that Venom Snake says to himself almost, where he's like, "I won't cast you out into the heartless sea. You'll always be with me." Like, I get chills, man. That's where Sutherland, like, you can't imagine Hayter doing that line as epic as Sutherland, I'm sure David Hayter has done an admirable job, but Sutherland just nailed it.
Yeah, he does. He says, "I won't scatter your sorrow to heartless sea. I will always be with you. Plant your roots in me. I won't let you end as ashes. To me, you're all diamonds. We are diamond." Yeah, he fucking delivers that to like a ping. I'm like, oh.
It's our logo, okay, for like all our podcasts. That him gathering the ashes on his face, and I'm proud of it because damn. That's kind of like the height. That's like the biggest moment, like almost one of the biggest moments in Chapter 2.
Isn't it funny when you go back to Mother Base and you hear people like, "Thank you, boss, for not killing those soldiers," or "Thank you, boss, for honouring them," and it's like, yeah, don't worry.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's the, don't bring that up, huh? Like, the wound is still tender. But so then after that we have Quiet's finale, and which I hate the mission itself, by the way, but it's so fucking hard.
It felt like a generic Call of Duty mission for me.
Yeah,
like, that's what kind of pissed me off. It's like, here's an ambush, and I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, come on, and it's just like how it's done, and like, here's an helicopter. It's like 5 minutes, it's a few minutes ago. Come on. It's like, I was getting so annoyed with that mission. I was like, fuck this. Like, it was really, really irritating me. I was like, this is not what I was expecting. Yeah. But Quiet Story is really fucking like half. I even was like kind of like shocked by that kind of like rape thing almost. It was like really freaking. God.
But when she wakes up and she stabs that dude in the dick, remember? Like, she fucking kicks their asses.
Was just. Do you know what? Like, it's just one of those things where, like, it just like a woman will never understand. I had my hands over my crotch, like.
It's so painful, man.
It's when those scenes happen in any movie, film, like anything. Just guys will always cover that, like, hand over their like, crotch. It's just like...
It's something we will always like, that is just fucking painful. Like, I don't even want to think about that, but it also drives the point through that she fucked them up. She's like, "You're gonna rape me? Fuck you." And it's such an empowering scene that really just, further shows what a kick-ass, badass strong character that Quiet is. But yeah, then you have to do that whole like stupid Call of Duty-esque mission, destroying all those tanks, and I'm just like, ugh. I had to do so many air supports the first time I did it. I sucked so badly at it. And then you have the scene afterwards, which is so well done, where basically they're trying to escape from like a convoy of soldiers coming, and Quiet is wounded, and Snake is carrying her, and then Snake gets bit by that snake. Ironic, and he's basically
it's a great shot where he's holding him. Where Snake's holding Quiet behind the rock.
Yes.
And they're leaning behind. The soldier walks up. And I love when he shoots the floor and he kills that snake.
Yeah.
It's just like ironic again of what it is. And just such a great scene though, the entire thing. That's like a straight out of a movie script.
Yeah. It's very, like, the tensions are so high in that scene. It's like, very, very well shot and well crafted. But then, the scene happens, which, man, I swear to God, dude, I watched that scene and, like, it's fucking swell up in my eyes, man, the tears and shit. It's such an emotional scene, because basically you find out, through cassette tapes, of course, that Quiet has the English vocal strain parasite. So if she speaks English, she dies. And
she'll spread it to other people as well.
Yeah, so she basically, there's, like, a sandstorm, and Pequod can't find them. And Quiet picks up the radio and starts talking to them in Navajo, because she could speak Navajo. And they're like, no, I'm sorry, like, do you speak English? Who is this, blah, blah, blah. And then you just, like, and Stephanie just does such a great job with her facial expressions. Like, you could see her mulling over the possibility of, I may have to die to save this man that I love, As, and we really don't know if she loves him as a person or as a comrade. But, that's open to interpretation.
But this is the great thing about Kojima in like terms of MGS3 as well, because like when you play MGS5, you hear Soldier that's like, and Big Boss was in love with the boss, and there's no kind of like when you go back to MGS3, there's no kind of connotation that links it, but he obviously kind of like is to interpretation that he is in love with, but he never kind of like flat out does like your generic love story or something. Love doesn't bloom on the battlefield.
Yeah.
No, but it's more in the sense like he does it in the way like it's kind of like, is she in love with him? Is she not?
Yeah.
What is it? Is it because of a soldier? Like, there's kind of so many ways of opening. It's not an open, it's like a simple answer for like that kind of question. It's so great how he builds it up. It's like, what? Maybe she did do it because she loved him. Maybe that's why he didn't speak. Yeah, it's kind of like throws back to a lot like MGS3 of like the boss. Like, did Big Boss love her? What was the relationship between them two? People will never understand. Kind of like what Eva says, like, only you will really understand her.
Yeah. It gets to, it's a great, you could open it anywhere you want to, and I honestly don't know how she felt about him. I don't know how to say that. I would have to really kind of like, analyze that game to shit. But so that happens, and she basically starts talking and starts, getting Pequod to come to her, and essentially kills herself because, she's gonna go and basically die in the desert. She just turns around and escapes, from Venom, and decides to just go die in the desert so it doesn't spread the vocal parasite. And it's just so beautiful, like that she'd be willing to make that sacrifice, and at the beginning of the game she's the person that went to go kill him, and it's very well done, and it's very Kojima, and I argue it is the most Metal Gear-esque character arc of the entire game, and it feels so like finite at the end of it. It's so like done, and it's great. And that kind of ends Quiet's story. It's also technically the second ending of the game. It's a great, like finale for her, and it's so sad, and she leaves that cassette tape. It's beautiful. But then we get to the final mission of the entire game, the finale, and this one's the Big Daddy. Big Daddy, man. So the chapter is called Episode 46, Truth, the Man Who Sold the World. And it's a reprisal of the very first mission we talked about at the opening of this podcast. And it's basically the hospital scene again, but there's little tiny differences. Like, remember when the doctor shows the mirror to Snake? All of a sudden he doesn't look like Big Boss at first. He looks like someone else. And they do the surgery, and the surgery is for him to look like Big Boss. you don't make an avatar anymore. And then what was it? They show him some pictures, and the pictures.
So basically, so he basically like he hands you a picture of Big Boss and cars and like another soldier, and then when you turn it over, it's a message from Vic Boss, saying like good luck, and then he shows you, he shows you a mirror, and like it's a reflection of you as Big Boss already,
right? And in the picture itself, he moves it, and you see the avatar that you created in the photo.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, you're like, what? What the fuck is going on? And then, basically, the whole scene plays out. Ishmael comes out like, who have you been talking to? You're talking to yourself. That whole scene happens. Yeah. And you play the whole...
Ishmael.
You play the whole thing. You see the Man on Fire. Who, by the way, the Man on Fire, we didn't touch on this. That's Volgan from Metal Gear Solid 3.
That's the entire point. It's just like, it's Volgan.
Yeah, and it's so random.
I mean, it's cool that he's there. It's like, he's burnt by revenge, like everything else, but it kind of is just like, hey, it's Volgan's body.
Yeah.
And kind of like,
it's bizarre. And not once did he say Kuwabara, which is bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. If you would have come out a little bit, be like, Kuwabara, be like, yes! Here he fucking is. This sadistic fucking monster.
This, 20-year-old corpse, basically. So the scene continues to play off, and then you get to the part where your car crashes with you and Ishmael in it. And then all of a sudden it shows this entirely new cutscene, and Ishmael is dragged out of the car by Ocelot, who says, "Boss, this way." And you're like, what? And then it cuts to a few hours later, and you basically find out Ishmael is Big Boss. He comes out with this awesome motorcycle, no horn, no missing arm. He's Big Boss, like as you saw him in Ground Zeroes and shit. And you're like, what is going on? And Ocelot's like, basically the game reveals to you that the character you've been playing as, Venom Snake, is not Big Boss. Venom Snake is the medic from the ending of Ground Zeroes that gets caught up in the explosion, that he's standing in front of Snake, when the explosion happens, and he gets the sharpener on his head. And and I forgot to say at the beginning of the mission they cut to remember, don't you die on me, they cut to that scene.
Yeah, they show that, but that's great though because it's an interpretation again of because this is kind of the big reveal that basically you are canon in the universe.
Yeah,
that because we'll come on to that. But basically, that kind of they show the shot where Car's in the stretcher and Big Boss is there. It's like, don't you die on me? It's like, yeah, he's stable. It's like, what about him? And basically, he's referring to you, the medic. He's on the third table, which is kind of really great because I mean, going back to where you said Big Boss is on that bike, he rides off into the distance, and then then it cuts credits, and then it goes to a great cutscene where Venom Snake is on Outer Haven vessel, whatever it is. Just at the beginning of the game is, and basically he has a double-sided cassette. So the first one's from the man who sold the world, which is Big Boss.
Yeah.
And basically this is one of Kiefer's greater lines as well, where he explains what he is, where it's I'm not Big Boss, you are Big Boss as well. Together we made him. When they bring it together, and then basically he has the other side of the cassette, which is Operation N913 something, which is the mission that Solid Snake sent on for Outer Haven.
Right.
So basically so that's the first time where it's kind of shown that Big Boss is obviously already dictating this mission.
Yeah. And what's great is there's a couple of cool parts there. First of all, by the way, it's revealed canonically the Big Boss that you fight in the original Metal Gear is Venom Snake. So you killed Venom Snake in that game. That's where he died. He dies in 1995 in the events of Metal Gear, playing out his role as Big Boss's Phantom. And also what's really cool is when he puts the Operation Intrude N414, from Metal Gear, when he puts that tape into the MSX, when the MSX remember it shows the console and then the MSX turns on, it's the blue light coming from the monitor you can't see. Oh man, that was such a great moment because that's the MSX logo that pops up when you first turn it on. So it's just such a great. It's almost like breaking the fourth wall in a way. Like he's about to sit down to play Metal Gear, But at the same time, it's such a great interpretation of this is where it leads to. The game literally leads directly into Metal Gear, and Dude, you know what? I still don't know how I feel about this twist. I think it's interesting. I think it's very interesting that we became so emotionally invested in this character, and at the end we find out it's not Big Boss. And it almost does that. It's almost like a similar effect. Yeah, with Raiden, except they straight out told you.
Well, I mean, like, this is why I said go back to MGS2 of the opening cutscene. It's the biggest throwback to MGS2 in that sense. Like, you know, like, again, you're not playing as Big Boss. It's kind of like, you know, a Kojima moment where it's like, you're alright, guys. Like, I just fucked you over again. Well, I mean, like, with what it is, it's great because it's interpretation. It's like what Solid Snake says, like, to, you know, like Meryl, you know, don't believe anything behind the man. Don't believe anything behind the legend. The legend spread. Like, you know, it goes back to Big Boss as well. The legend spread. It's disoriented. It's not truthful. And kind of like, kind of as an overarching story, it kind of shows why Big Boss is this big legendary soldier, because he's done so many things at the same time. Right. Because Venom Snake is spreading one story of Big Boss, and Big Boss is spreading another story. So basically, when you think Big Boss is evil in Outer Haven, that's basically Venom Snake spreading that evil. Like, he's creating the evil side of Big Boss of what people consider evil. The Big Boss.
You know what's interesting too? A lot of people are theorizing, like, you know, so it kind of makes you wonder who did Gray Fox meet again? Did he meet Big Boss later on? Was it Venom that brought Naomi and him to America? And also, what about Saladin with Sniper Wolf? Who the fuck did she meet? Was it Venom?
Exactly.
Exactly.
It opens that great question of who Big Boss is. Like, again, it's that thing with legend. Who is Big Boss? Can anyone be Big Boss?
It adds some mystique to his character, you know.
It goes back to the kind of idea as well with MGS2. It's like almost the earlier idea of the S3 simulation.
Right.
Like, anyone can become Big Boss. Anyone can become Solid Snake.
Right.
It just needs the right kind of oil works. Obviously, S3 is a little bit different because, like, Ocelot says the S3 simulation, they didn't expect Solid Snake to turn up during it.
Yeah.
Because the entire point is building the super soldier. But it's like Ocelot's guiding.
Remember that great line? I wonder now who called for you. Like, such a great line. Oh, man.
Well, it's kind of great, though, because Ocelot's all in the plan. They have this idea of bringing this kind of grand scheme into motion. Maybe that is Cypher's grand experiment.
Yeah.
About bringing, you know, the third snake to life, almost. Like fourth. He says in... he says it's the third snake.
That's interesting. I guess they really just don't like Solidus.
No, they don't really like Solidus.
He became George a president or something. I don't know. Nothing major.
Motherfucking George CS. No, I think, like, I kind of, like, when I took it first, I took it really harshly, because I think I was having a bad experience anyway. I was expecting this kind of, like... Because for me, like, I was expecting the emotional fucking twisting of, like, MGS4.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of huge moments gaping open where it's like, where's Grey Fox? Where's the fucking system? Where's this, that? I was expecting to do, like, on the level MGS4, it's going to fucking rip my heartstrings apart.
Right.
See certain things. So I didn't expect that. And when I saw it, I was like, oh, really? I think a little bit is a cop-out that it's the medic, because we were fucking everyone attached to that. And do you know what the funny part is? I'm going to spoil this. Do you know when Kapaz that entire sequence happens? The fucking medic has a balaclava on in the recreated scenes.
Oh, right, for the... You mean in the pause thing, right?
Yeah, he has a fucking like, come on! Like, you obviously just have a balaclava on that fucking... in the Ground Zeroes game, and then he has it on in the recreated cutscenes so they don't spoil the ending.
It's like the medic is trying to, like, erase himself from his memory, you know? Like, just put a generic soldier instead of him. It's very interesting.
But the entire, like, twist as well reveals why Big Boss doesn't talk either, because he's not Big Boss.
Yeah, that's something I really liked, that he was quieter in this game, because you're right, he's not Big Boss, and he's really confused and trying to figure things out, you know what I mean, and play that role without even knowing it. So
he doesn't act like Big Boss. This is why Miller gets kind of angry. Like, he doesn't act like Big Boss. He doesn't respond to what Miller wants.
Right.
It's a really, really... I think it's one of those cutscenes where you have to chew it and really, like, sit on it and kind of, like, think about it. The more I think about it, the more I kind of, like it. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's like my... You know, in my mind, the kind of ending what MGS4 delivered, where I was like, almost like had a heart attack and like was on the edge of my seat. I was like, this is the most thrilling ending I've ever seen. But it was really one of those ones where it's like, fuck me, this is really crazy. That's actually the ending.
Yeah.
And then again, it's like I said, it links back to the tapes where it says that Liquid doesn't match Venom Snake on a genetic level because Venom Snake's not his father.
Exactly.
And it's kind of like that entire, like, you know, Kojima gives you that massive tape. The tape is even gold as well, saying it's like one of those musts that you should listen to.
Yeah. So he wants you to know, like,
Yeah, he basically was.
We were fiddling you the whole time.
Yeah, he was fiddling fucking you straight from the beginning, which is crazy to think that. But yeah, it kind of grew that grind that Big Boss's mythology is spread by two people. That it's born by two people. Like two people are making it what it is, and it's great because it reminds me of that thing. As I said, what Snake says, like there's more to man behind the legend. Legends are spread, they're fabricated. They riddled with lies and stuff like that. And obviously, it says everything about Big Boss as well.
Yeah.
Kind of like one of my biggest disappointments was we didn't really understand Big Boss's full agenda.
Yeah.
Because the entire point is that we're seeing it from Venom Snake's eyes.
Yeah, that's true. Like, supposedly he was like starting to build Outer Heaven while Venom was doing Diamond Dogs, and they were going to spread out their thing. But yeah, there's a lot that's kind of like. That's where I feel like a remake of Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2 would be so cool. Having, to see Venom again, and deliver those lines and see Big Boss running Foxhound and, that would just be so fucking interesting. But, yeah, I mean, the tapes kind of the tapes you unlock after that, the truth tapes, they kind of unlock a lot of stuff, and there's that great performance by Zero that's not even played by the same actor from MGS3, but the guy they got did such a good job, like a great older Zero,
Oh, Time Winters. Oh, yeah. Like when he's in the cassette tapes afterwards, I was like, this guy needs to be in the fucking game. Those File 12 tapes. I was like, I wish they were cutscenes. I wish I could roll back the clock 10 years and see Kojima make this game, and just see it with cutscenes because it's so fucking great. One of my favorites. I hope there's so many great ones, but one of my favorites is when Skullface is talking to Zero. He talks about Pin, and basically where he infects him with a parasite, and he's like, you know what, this is kind of like, this is why Zero ends up in the state that he does.
Yeah, where he's like a vegetable.
It's like a great explanation.
Yeah,
and again, it personifies why Skullface is such a great character, but he's like, you know what, he's like, I've kept the original Pin, and he's like, you know what, and I'll take control of your system.
He
has, and then I love the one between Ocelot and Zero as well.
Yeah, they're all they picked Kojima picked the perfect characters for him to interact with.
And I think my favorite one though is by far is when Skullface goes and Zero visits Big Boss
he has that one last moment. I mean, it's so sad, dude. He was his friend till the end, man. He really loved him.
That's one of the ones where I almost fucking wanted to tear up because it kind of like gave such a great thing about the entire point that Big Boss was still driven by the thing that he hated Zero and everything else, but when Big Boss thinks that, because it kind of answers Big Boss's questions like, did Zero hate me or did he fear me?
You're right.
And kind of like the fact that Big Boss's ideals, like he says to me, he's like, you know what, this might be the final time I'll be able to see you, and it's like I hope that you might be able to wake up before then, and we can kind of like set our differences aside. Like Big Zero was ready to bury the hatchet with Big Boss right there and then.
Yeah.
It kind of like makes that thing where I'm like, oh my god, like that's so fucking crazy. Like the kind of like the entire thing, like even Zero's just there with like a man full of remorse. Like he's like, my mind's gonna be fractured at this point because of the parasite,
right?
And this is gonna happen. I'm just like, oh my fucking, like I was just so there. The MGS moment, I was like, oh my god. It's like I wish that would have been a cutscene. That should have been a cutscene.
Dude, I mean that's an excellent point you brought up. I didn't think of it. Really does change the ending of MGS4, and it's kind of beautiful that in a way, even though Big Boss doesn't know how Zero, like we as an audience know what Zero feels now, but like that he did love Big Boss to the end. But Big Boss, when he says like even now when I look at him, I still consider him my friend. I think it's so cool that without even knowing, he still loves Zero as well. It's that like that friendship that they've had since the 1960s. That even though it was like a little bit fucked up during some years in the middle there, at the very end they kind of reached the same thing. It's such a great Kojima really had like this filled in a lot of blanks in the story. I mean it's kind of, I think chronologically it's a great chapter, but production wise it's an awkward way to end the series, you know what I mean? But that's a great, I love that. I think it's such a cool like moment. It's and then also we have one last thing, and we should probably wrap this up. We're about to do 2 hours, but there's one last thing.
We can't condense this anymore. This fucking game huge. I said this was going to be the end all Spoilercast. Like, this is the finale if we ever stop Spoilercast.
That's very true.
We can split this up in many ways. I think like you need to kind of really. There's just not those. We've even skipped over so much. Even the Vulcan stuff. Like we can't even really touch them because we're fucking running out of time. We've had so many deep discussions on the entire freaking game.
Yeah.
But yeah, go on, hit the big one now. This is a meaty one in itself, as it is.
Yeah, this is the last. The last part is the Phantom chapter, or episode 51, Kingdom of the Flies. This is the. You could locate this for anyone listening who hasn't seen this. You could see this online, and you could watch it on YouTube and stuff like that. But basically, it wraps up that story arc with Eli and the Sahelanthropus thing, and basically, it's just a really epic cutscene. It's supposed to be that you would have fought. You track down Eli to the South African island where he's already unleashed the vocal strain parasite. So Venom, because we all know it's Venom Snake now, he comes in with a gas mask, and basically you fight Sahelanthropus one last time. You destroy it, and it's so cool because it would have been Eli doing it again. So it would have been him, like, I'm gonna take on the world, Snake, like that stuff. Like how he says to Ocelot in MGS1.
When I write my biography one day, you're gonna do it in that voice, in the audio tapes.
Like do my shitty British accent the whole time. I'd be so down.
Went to the shop. What a chocolate bar! The Patriots created that chocolate bar.
But so you destroy it, and then basically. Venom gives Eli a gun with a bullet at the end, and they're about to bomb. They're gonna fire with napalm the fucking island so that the strain won't get out, and Eli's infected. And so, Venom gives him a gun with a bullet in it, and Eli is gonna fucking kill himself. And Venom goes away in his helicopter with Ocelot and Kaz and shit. And as they're leaving, and Liquid is just like, "Fuck you, Snake! I hate you," thinking that's Big Boss. Which is interesting that yeah.
But again, this is where it spreads the Big Boss mythology, because Eli hates Venom's Snake, not Big Boss.
Yeah, he never met him.
that cutscene's even better because he says to him, like, you are genetically inferior, and like, he kind of like digs this idea that Liquid is just, he's not even worth his time.
Yeah,
he's gonna leave him there. That he's not even. Even if he was ever going to call a true son, it would never be Liquid.
Yeah, which is a perfect lead-in to MGS1 with him like, I will surpass him, I will destroy him. Remember that whole
exactly.
Line?
That cutscene explains so much about Liquid's resentment towards Big Boss.
Yeah,
because like he just will not accept it. Like Big Boss is just there. Like, I mean, the entire idea of that entire cutscene, like when they explain it, like I think that would have been the great finale for MGS5 was the fact that the huge Diamond Dogs fight against Sahelanthropus.
Yeah. Would have been such a great. You know what? I would even buy it as DLC. If they have Kojima until December, right? So come on, finish it. Like finish it, and then release it as DLC. But and then what's it called? This is where things get weird. So Psycho Mantis comes and extracts the virus from Liquid, which explains why he's not dead by the time MGS1 happens, and then basically takes him away from the island before it explodes, and then. Liquid and Mantis are like, I guess they become buddies, which is why he's with him in Shadow Moses. And then it ends on a very weird note that I don't get. They show a shot of New York City, and this is pre-9/11 New York City, because the two towers are there, the Twin Towers. And then, he says his famous line, "It's not over yet." And it ends. And, I don't get the New York scenery. That's really weird. I mean, there's so many theories. Some people think that Liquid had to do something. He was in charge of 9/11 or something, which is absurd. If Kojima were to do that, that'd be like, dude, that's a tender wound still. It's only been like not even 20 years. But I don't get it. I really don't. Some people are like, oh, maybe it's what Solidus does, but that doesn't make sense because it's Liquid Snake. I don't get it. That would be one of the questions I'd ask Kojima. Why do you show a shot of New York City when Liquid says that? Maybe he decides to go to college at NYU. It's not over yet. I'm going to go to NYU and get a degree. I'll show you, Big Boss. But that's what Liquid does.
Well, I think isn't that because like
I don't know why.
Isn't David Solid State still in the States?
Yeah, but they never say where he's at, though. I don't think he was ever lived in New York or anything. They never really said where he grew up, just that he never left America when he was a kid. He wasn't like Eli, that he went, he left England and stayed in Africa and shit. So
there'll be a reason why that shot is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm just it's kind of scraping my mind of what it actually was. I was meant to look that up.
Yeah, no one knows. I went to the Metal Gear Reddit and I was reading on it, and everyone is like beyond confused on it. We don't really quite understand why the fuck they show that final shot. And then, created by Hideo Kojima pops up too. It's really weird. But that is it. That's the ending. That's the Phantom Pain. That ties it all. And I think with that, it really, it's clear there is more to the game, I feel, based on how unfinished Chapter 2 felt. But I think that's a fitting ending, and I'm so happy that video is available in some form, and you get some more, acting from Kiefer and the voice actor that plays Eli as well, and everyone. But yeah, that's how it ends, and then it just kind of like it wraps up Eli's story and the Sahelanthropus thing, and you know where he's heading, and Ocelot's there. It's a great, not Ocelot, Psycho Mantis is there, and it's really great. I guess I don't know, dude. I guess we'll give our closing thoughts, or
one thing we missed was the post credit from episode 46.
Oh, right,
Ocelot.
Okay. Yeah, there's the post credit scene with Kaz and Ocelot that basically you find out. Well, dude, you describe. I think you have a better grasp on it than I do, to be honest.
Yeah, basically Ocelot and Kaz start a conversation, one of MGS's renowned post-credit scene, so it's just talking. Kaz realizes that it's Venom Snake, not Big Boss.
Right.
And Kaz just, loses it there, because he's like, right. Like, fuck Big Boss.
Yeah.
I'm saying what Kaz is trying to say in, a bit more of a...
yeah.
more of a vicious and cynical way. Basically says that and insists on it, fuck Big Boss, and he says, what, I'm gonna go and, I'm gonna work with Venom Snake and build him into better Big Boss, and then we're gonna destroy him. He's gonna go and train his son, David, who's in the States at this day.
Right.
And then Ocelot basically refers to, if you go back and join Cypher, I'm gonna have to stick with the other one, which is Liquid, and then kind of explains, maybe one day we might see each other on the other side of the battlefield, and you just say, Miller's like, that's fine by me, and he, walks out. It's a great post-credit sequence.
Yeah. Basically, you realize Ocelot kills Kaz at the beginning, right before MGS1, and that's how Liquid is able to impersonate Miller in the original Metal Gear Solid, which is, because remember the Unknown Assailant? They kept calling it that, Master Miller was found in his house dead. He's been a couple of days. That was Ocelot. He probably answered the door and went Liquid sends his love, or whatever. Yeah, it's a really cool aspect, and it ties into why Solid Snake was even trained by Miller. Or at least got some of his training done by Miller in the original Metal Gear when he joined Foxhound. It's a really great post-credit scene. I think it actually has a lot more impact than a lot of the other post-credit scenes that they've had lately. It's great. It's different. It's a different angle. It's a different approach, but I loved it. I agree with you. I thought it was really great. All right, dude. I guess do you want to give final thoughts on the story of the Phantom Pain?
Oh man, I want to go back to the podcast that we did where we fucking talked about this game so much. It is a fucking, on a technical level, it's unbelievable. It's the most amazing in terms of its gameplay and its visuals. I think its story is a little bit underwhelming compared to other MGSs. Surprisingly, it makes other MGSs look linear to it, which says everything, and MGS is not a linear story as it is. I admire so many things by it. I have very many things that I can pick holes in. Obviously, the third boy is not explained. Maybe that is Psycho Mantis, maybe it's not. Come on. Not everything needs to explain, but there's still a reason why he's there, and kind of again, a lot of context is thrown behind the cassette tapes. Mm-hmm. I feel if you're not one of those people like me and you, if we didn't listen to cassette tapes, it wouldn't make a lot of sense to the story.
Yeah.
And that says, I'm saying that in a very gratuitous way of saying that, it's a great story, but it does, like, a lot of the set tapes should have been cutscenes. Mm-hmm. They feel like they should have been cutscenes. I think even they would have been better as cutscenes because it would have really, it's great. It's just missing moments of Kojima genius because it's got the great dialogue and everything else, and it's missing that moment to shine the light. But it has some great moments. I think Kiefer answered his critics certainly. Troy Baker is a different story completely. I think Black Down steals the show for me personally. Yeah. I think he's fucking amazing in that game. I think he needs his credit where it's due. Maybe some awards at the end of the year. I think again, like, it's very satisfying as a conclusion almost to the MGS5 story. My biggest kind of criticisms are, like, one, Kojima said we'd go back to Camp Omega in this game.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird.
No one's found that.
Seen that.
Yeah,
unless it's an MGO map, which I'd be really disappointed with.
Actually, it is. There is an MGO map where it's in Camp Omega. I don't know if that's what he meant, but I really hope it's not, because that would really suck.
I thought it meant story. I would have hoped that would have a location in the game, because it showed Africa, Afghanistan. I assumed that would be maybe one more location.
Yeah.
Except Cyprus, like, maybe that would be another, like, location to travel to. I honestly do feel the game is not finished. I feel like there must. It's an untold story until we get bigger context. We're not going to know, but I feel like this game just wasn't completely finished. I feel like there was such a fast pace in development and everything else with Konami pulling the plug on a lot of things. I just feel like they had a grander vision and plan, and that 51 was kind of like almost like the conclusion would be like shit. This is MGS. It's even the ending, just that picture is just enough. Like, can be like, what? But hey, that's what it is.
Perfect. I think perfect final thoughts, dude. A lot of what you said, I feel the same way. Phantom Pain, I think, as a game, as a video game, almost feels like a modern version of, like, those classic NES games where, they were challenging but fair to the player. Like, this game really respects you as a gamer and, presents a challenge that you really have to be on top of things in this game to like, master it. You can't kind of, like, be, just follow, like, the scripted scenes and all that crap. Like, it's very much like a game that just personifies that challenging but respectful aspect that I think more games should have. It's my game of the year. It's an amazing game. Very fun. I was obsessed with it. I was jokingly telling my wife that I felt like Gollum from Lord of the Rings, and that this was my ring, and I had to beat it to cast it into the fire to I did do that, and once I did that, I was able to calm down and stuff. I mean, I enjoyed it so much. I have the Japanese copy. I need to get into there so I can see the alternate voice acting from the Japanese cast. And by the way, for those interested, it is English subtitled and English everything, so you could play the game perfectly and have the Japanese audio in it. I love it. I agree. I think the story was a bit underwhelming. It has... I think it needs to settle in a little bit more. It's so fresh that it needs to kind of, like... I felt the same with Peace Walker. I didn't like Peace Walker's story, and I still kind of, like, feel a little bit about it, but it's grown on me a bit over the years. Phantom Pain, I feel, is one of those type of things where it needs to, kind of, like, attach to me a bit. But it has some beautiful moments that we discussed in today's podcast, and... it's a game that if you have, and it's available on, like, almost all the consoles, so if you have a PS4, PS3, Xbox 360, Xbox One, or a PC, buy this game. It is, like, a phenomenal title, and I really think it's, like, one of the best games that we're going to get this generation. And yeah, that's pretty much all that I feel. Great game. Very happy to have finally gotten it. And yeah, so... Alright guys, that's it for this installment of Gamer Headlines' Spoilercast. For up-to-date episodes from Spoilercast, be sure to follow our other podcast, The Gamer Headlines Show, on Twitter at TGH Show, and like our Facebook page, The Gamer Headlines Show. Additionally, Gamer Headlines' Spoilercast can be found on Podbean, Stitcher, iTunes, YouTube, and of course, right here as always at GamerHeadlines.com. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and we will see you in the near future.
We'll see you for Metal Gear Solid 6.
The Revenge of Ganush. I don't know. The Attack of the 50-foot, Arctic MGS1
50
trooper.
flat Sahelanthropus.
It's a Jehuti Sahelanthropus crossover. This is our, by the way, this is our our post credit. This is after
This is our MGS talk.
Yeah,
Chris.
I should put this at the end of after the music. I'm gonna do that. It's gonna be great. They'll never find it in here. Yes.
Okay. I'm always at the disposal of Spoilercast, Mr. Director.
Da, da, da,